Hi, and welcome to this, I can't believe we're saying it, live episode of Frank and Mary here in Westborough. If you haven't seen the show before, my name is Art Bergeron. My day job is as an elder law attorney at Myrick O'Connell. We're actually kind of down the street at the corner of 9 and 495. But this is not about my day job. My day job, I do nothing but elder law. This show is not about elder law. It's about my friends Frank and Mary. If you've seen my presentations before, you know that Frank and Mary's goal in life is to live in their house and die and be buried in the backyard. And if you live in Westborough, you never want to leave, so you just want to stay here forever, which really is going to bring us to our guest. But the point of this show is to let you know the people you need to know and the programs you need to know about if you just want to stay in Westborough forever. And you have to know our guest, and you probably do know him if that's your goal. So my co-host is my good friend Shelby Marshall, whose job, among others, is to find the great guests that we have today. And so, Shelby, it's so great to see you back.
Wait,
Zoom was like so old. It was getting so old. So it's nice to see you.
Good to see you.
So whom do we have today?
So we are honored to have Bob Sylvester as our guest today. So excited. Bob is sort of an institution in and of himself. Many of you know him, but I've actually met people that don't know him. They know of him, but they don't know him.
A legend. A real legend.
You are
there you go.
So Bob, welcome to the show.
A legend.
Thank you for being on today.
Thank you, Shelby.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I asked Bob to be on, Arthur, because Bob and his family and a whole host of folks have been responsible for over 50 years now for the community Thanksgiving dinner here in Westborough. So we just celebrated Thanksgiving. Happy belated Thanksgiving to both of you. But it is a time-honored tradition, and Bob has been at the heart of it for 50. That's not 50 years.
For 50 years.
So Bob, you grew up in Westborough.
Yes, I did.
You're still here.
I've been here for 84 years.
84 years. Wow, that's amazing.
I'm starting to feel it. Even with a broken hip.
I know. So Bob is just returning from a broken hip from about a month or so ago?
Five weeks.
Yeah, so, but he's here.
You look, for a person with a broken hip, you look terrific.
I know.
They say I'm doing good. I
yes.
kind of question it, but the physical therapist said I'm doing good.
That's terrific.
So that's good.
So Bob, tell us about how the community Thanksgiving dinner started.
It happened after I joined the Knights of Columbus. It was in 1969. At that time, Thanksgiving, for some of the people that didn't know where to go or didn't have any place to go, a woman named Mrs. Farnsworth lives up on Summer Street. Her husband owned Farnsworth Motors.
Okay.
That was across the street from Village Lumber. That's called.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called now. And she got together and found families that would take people in to their home for Thanksgiving Day dinner. And then it was getting too much for her. And I was asked, I don't know why or how, to see if the Knights of Columbus could orchestrate it and continue this. So, in conjunction with the Ecumenical Council of Churches in Westborough, we, as the Knights of Columbus, in particular myself, decided to start it and have the dinner at the Knights of Columbus, and that was in 1970. Wow. I remember we got a street list. I don't know what year it was to find people that were 65 or older.
Yeah, there were only about 5 streets then, so it would have been like a short street.
Yeah, it was a good sized town, I thought, at that time. So I
So
was amazed.
we lived in Marlborough. We always thought of Westborough as a very small place.
Well,
and still upset that they broke away from Marlborough those many years
that
ago.
happened many years
But we
ago.
digress. We don't want to be talking. So you got the street list.
So you got the
We
street.
got the street list. We looked up the year people hit 65, and I just handed it out to the members. I said, write letters, send them out, invite them to the Thanksgiving Day dinner. Everybody. Most people had places to go, but there were a number that didn't have any place to go. And it progressed through the Ecumenical Council of Churches. Each church, each year, would fund it get the folks that will put the meal on, and me with my big mouth, I orchestrated, do this and do that. I'm good at that.
So I was going to
Good.
say you're good at directing.
I'm good at that.
That's
so,
why we sat you in the middle here.
Yeah.
So you can kind of run the show. You may actually be taking over this show.
I know, we
actually.
should be careful.
So that's
So-
basically how it went. how
So,
it
so
started.
you weren't. So when you did this list originally, you weren't originally outreaching and saying, kind of picking people that you kind of knew didn't have a place. You were literally inviting everybody.
We invited everybody in this town that was 65 or older.
And so for people who've actually got a place, they say, well, no, I'm with my family, but that way nobody's not like embarrassed.
Right.
Right.
You're just like everybody is just invited.
And the people that weren't 65 that didn't have any place to go, a lot of time they wouldn't ask me, can I help?
You wouldn't ID these people coming in. No.
You come to the door, you're going to get
You're going to
fed.
get it.
And the people under 65, they always wanted to come sometimes. And they always were shy to come because they weren't 65. So they asked me, can I help you in the kitchen, Bob? Or do this. What they want, they want to enjoy a Thanksgiving Day dinner.
Sure.
And I didn't turn anybody away. There were times where there were so many people helping. It was amazing to see people coming on the woodwork to do this thing on Thanksgiving. And there were times where I had to tell people, go sit. I don't have anything for you right now.
Right.
And I kind of twisted few noses. We've had a couple walk out, but that's all right. There's nothing. Can't satisfy
You
everybody.
can't satisfy them.
So
Even on Thanksgiving.
that's right.
So what was interesting to me is that there were the churches throughout town really had this rotation of not only helping financially but with volunteers. So that happened for many, many years.
Yes, it happened quite a few years.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the best was the synagogue. I couldn't believe. I wish I knew this woman's name. I hope you have
I
a
think we have a
photograph.
photo. We'll talk about that.
Just
in
a
minute.
little short person
We may be looking for this.
that lived in
looking for this.
Northborough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God, was she a crackerjack? She knew everything. I was amazed. I just kept my mouth shut and let her run the show.
That's
When you
a-
say she knew
Sorry,
everything, she knew everyone, or she just knew everything about how to run this kind of.
How to organize and how to run. She should have been a rabbi.
Well, and if she was able to keep you quiet, then that
She
says
lived in
something.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
lived in Northborough.
Yeah.
She was tremendous.
Yeah.
And she brought a fellow over named Larry Ingalls. And he was great at the kitchen. I kept Larry every year.
Yeah.
I was disappointed when he moved to Florida when he retired. He was great in the kitchen. He took over the kitchen.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do it. That's the back orders. And there weren't that many orders to back because Larry knew the whole thing. It was great.
So the meal is a traditional meal. So you got turkey. So how do you get the food? Like, is it donated?
nut.
You guys make the turkey? You buy the turkey? Tell us about that.
Roast Brothers has always donated at least 8 turkeys.
Wow, that's great.
And for many, many years, we cooked 8 turkeys because that's what I could cook at
Yep.
the KSC.
Yep.
I had 4 ovens, and then it got to be more people go. 2 years ago, we cooked 13 turkeys. Wow. Now that's a lot of turkeys.
That's a lot of turkeys.
And
That's a big family. 13 turkeys.
That's a lot of
Chef de Jour,
Yeah.
Johnny Ayotte,
Yeah.
has a catering business in town. He says, Bob, why are you cooking the big turkey in the oven? And I looked at him and said, well, you're supposed to cook them. He said, you should bone them the day before and cook them that day before, and then cool them off. Thanksgiving morning, you have your people that like to carb. It's a lot easier to carb a cold turkey than it is a hot. So that's what we did. After it was carved, we put it in hotel trays, which were nice trays.
Yeah.
And some of the drippings that were caused by the turkey
Yeah.
congealed, that were
Yeah,
like
yeah.
jelly. We put that on top of the turkey.
Just to keep them moist. To keep them moist.
Keep 'em
I
moist.
see.
seal them up with aluminum foil, pop them in the oven.
So you actually get handy tips at home actually as to how to make your meal here. This is a combined
quite the-
history and a cooking show.
Right.
This is
Tips and technology throughout the years is amazing. Potatoes come in a bag. Pop them in hot water. You got instant potatoes and they're delicious. Squash is the same way. So technology over the period of years has really changed a lot of it, and it made it a lot easier. 2 years ago, we fed, I would say, 150, 160 people. Now that's a lot of people,
That's
in
a
my
lot of people.
opinion.
Yeah, we had like 8 at our table, and that was somewhat chaotic.
Now I haven't been to the KSC. How many can you seat at the KSC?
Legally, 168.
Oh, but you get a special waiver? The
No, you just
the
put
building
what-
commissioner gives you a waiver?
You just open the back door.
Thanksgiving.
That's, that's basically it. We shouldn't tell
help doesn't count.
the town officials that, but you want to eat, you come,
Right.
and you're going to get fed. We had one table that year with so many that we have a back room that we store tables and chairs. They did it on their own. I don't know what group of people it was. They set up a table in the back,
Yeah.
and everything was fine.
Yeah.
And I always overbuy food.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to go home
Hungry.
hungry.
Nothing worse than being hungry at
And-
the end of the Thanksgiving meal.
That's right. And then Then everything was served family style. And when the dinner was over, I had aluminum trays of the particular food that came back to the kitchen. It wasn't used. Nobody touched it. That was the take home.
Yeah.
People wanted to take
Which is
home
great,
this
right?
and take home that.
Yep.
I remember one time years ago, she lived up on, oh gosh, can't remember. Elderly woman, big elderly woman. She wanted the turkey bones,
The bones.
just the bones. She said, Bob, you realize the soup that these things will make?
This.
And I said,
You
yes,
got
I
12
know.
turkeys. This
And
can be soup
that's
for
what-
about a year, right?
So we gave her 2 or 3 big bags
Wow.
of turkey bones. Oh, she was grateful.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was grateful on that. It's things that then happens that you don't see every day.
Well, I think that is the sense that I have. I have never been to one of the dinners, but what I hear is the gratefulness, the serving, to your point, anyone and everyone, right? So we're not going to turn anyone away. It was intended to be kind of for the older folks in the
Yeah.
community, but I know that through the years we've served folks that don't have a home. That
So
have
everybody
some
gets to be
mental
old
health
for the
issues.
day? You know,
Yeah, everyone
That's right.
everyone is welcome.
In fact, we had a woman named Donna Rizzi. Her husband, family owned Orlando Supermarket, Shrewsbury. Her husband was Tudor Orlando, or Tudor Rizzi. Orlando was the name of the father, first name, Orlando. Dot lost a daughter, lost a son, and lost her husband, Tudor, early in the marriage. And it was terrible. But she used to come down the hall every Thanksgiving and wash the dishes. That's what Dot wanted to do. If you went near Dot and wanted to do it, she'd yell at you. That's my job. You can
Get
wipe.
out.
You can wipe them or take them on the dishwasher, but I'm washing the
But you're
dishes.
washing the dishes.
And then we got paper plates. It devastated her.
Oh,
What are you going? Why are you? I can't.
That's right.
what am I going to wash now?
We're gonna rip these things up.
She was
These things-
such a
these
gem.
things- these things
And
are
then
no good.
after everybody had gone home, my wife and I, using one of the kids, were the last to leave because I had to lock the hall up.
Yeah.
Dot would stick around with us and sit down and talk, and she used to like scotch. She said, give me your best scotch over the rocks. And I'd have
Oh, and
my
this being
beer.
the KSC, there must have been some.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, we
He's
had the
also
bar.
the bar
Some on-
manager.
on
He's the
order.
bar manager.
We had the bar.
You're the
but
bar
we-
manager too?
Yes. We didn't, one year we opened the bar, and that wasn't a good scene. Because we had a few alcoholics that came.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I didn't know they were alcoholics. Alcoholics can hide their alcoholism.
Yeah.
And so we decided we better not
You
touch
better
the
not do
bar.
that.
We're
No.
not- yeah.
Until after you're done.
That's what, when
Until
we're
you've locked the
done,
door.
Dot and I, and Dot would love to have that scotch on the rocks.
Celebratory drink.
And
Right?
she relished in it. And she was a good soul. She just passed
Yeah.
less than a year ago.
So we have at the end of our conversation today, Bob and his daughter Roberta and family have gave me some photos which
Yep.
I put together, and so we'll play just sort of a quick reel of those photos. And Dot is actually in one of those. And the newspaper has covered this event, and I know it's Dot not only because Bob told me that, but because the newspaper has covered this event several years. You'll see photos of folks who are young and older and volunteering, and I think that's what is so special about this. So,
And you may even see some pictures of folks who are young, except now they're older.
well, that's
you're
true, right? They're
you
going
may
to
be
go.
seeing some
What
his-
was that
some-
me?
That's right. That's
Right.
like, it's like going through the old yearbooks from Westborough High School, right?
Right, exactly.
So tell me on Thanksgiving, like when does this start? And is there like can people come in shifts? I mean, I'm thinking you're serving a lot of people. Is it all at once? Yeah. How does it? And are the volunteers? Is this also a solicitation for volunteers for next year? Like, do you have like a waiting list to be a volunteer? You know, at this.
No, we usually start first part of November.
Yep.
A fellow
It's
named
like a
Joe
whirlwind.
Pucciarelli, he would always orchestrated the sign-up sheets to each church. Do you want to clean? Do you want to be a host family? Because a host family is a person or the family that goes in the kitchen, takes the food out. We always fed family style. And they would bring it to the table and sit down with the rest of the table and break bread with them.
And because you're the host, and then you're in charge of making sure that the regular food just keeps showing
If
up.
you want seconds and that dish was empty, you go in the kitchen and have it refilled. So
Who thought of that? That's a great
that
idea.
that
Is this
was
one
a
of your
great
one of
that
your
was a great idea.
innovations? Was this?
No, I can't remember who it was, but we have a
'Cause
lot of people,
it's not us and them. It's just
Right.
we're all here.
Right.
We're all
Right.
here having Thanksgiving.
and we had each table had a host family, and then we had greeters that come in, and we all had people that would help in the kitchen. We had people that just came to do the cleanup, which was a son of a gun. People you give a pot and pan and tell them clean it, that's not a good job. But there were times where I and my wife ended up cleaning some stuff. But that's part of the game. You're not gonna, and
That's right. The pan stops with you.
that's right.
The
And
pan
that-
stops here.
That's right.
Right.
Actually, the pan stops with his wife.
Well, this why. Oh, he hands it to it. He just hands it to his wife.
She's our next interview.
Oh,
So there was some, after a while, the Ecumenical Council of Churches decided they didn't want to do it anymore. The local priest and one of the ministers decided they've had enough.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, I wasn't about to let it go by. So I said, we're going to do it, and I need extra help. So, and it fell into place.
Yeah.
People came forward, and we always did it every year. And it was the best day of the year for me, for many, many years.
Yeah.
Every year. And, there was times where somebody got a little upset, but that's the name of the game.
That
So
happens.
that's-
That happens at every Thanksgiving that I've ever
It happens.
been.
right. Exactly. That's what that
And-
makes it
That
feel
makes-
like more like family.
Right, exactly.
There's a few arguments.
We
This is
had
great.
two people that wanted nothing to do with it anymore because we started taking the turkeys, carving them raw, and cooking them the day before.
They didn't like that.
They didn't. The reason they didn't like that, when they came in at Thanksgiving, they couldn't smell turkeys being cooked.
Oh.
When you go in a house where you cook a Thanksgiving Day dinner,
That's part
you
of the
can smell it.
That's right.
It will drift outside. You can see.
I think Yankee Candle has. Maybe we'll buy you some candles that smell like turkey.
Turkey.
That's a good idea.
You know.
That's a good idea.
Just kind of get that essence.
So, that's part of the game.
So,
We've had-
excuse me. So you said the churches they stopped doing it, But are you still doing these sign-up sheets at the churches, and you still get volunteers from the churches?
We do at the churches. I don't deal with Joe Pucciarelli that much prior. I got enough responsibility
Oh, yeah.
to get people that go to this store or here to get all the food. Now, there's only 2 or 3 places we go to get the food. We've been doing it for years and years, and they know I'm coming. So they're ready for me.
Yeah.
This year, they went up to Midtown Meat or Gibson Milk, and what I wanted up there was 5 pounds of chopped onions and 5 pounds of celery. You tell somebody to chop up 5 pounds of each, it's a task.
You don't want to tell them 5 minutes ahead of time.
That's right. And then they don't do it to my liking. I want those things chopped small. Well, they don't want to do that. So I get it chopped already, and it's great.
Yeah. So you become more efficient.
This year they went up and they didn't have the onions. So they had to chop their own onions.
A lot of crying going on.
When I saw the stuffing, because I asked for 2 items to be delivered at the house, was stuffing and the gravy.
Yep.
Gravy was good. The stuffing, but that's all right. I wasn't there.
Sometimes that happens, right? Some years the stuffing is
That's
great.
right.
Sometimes it's like, I don't know, it
it's
just
kinda
wasn't
like-
the same. But
Yeah.
so, Bob, as we look forward to future years, do you feel like there's still a strong interest in getting those volunteers, funding it? You see this as a tradition that continues?
The funding is pretty good. Joe is pretty good at getting the money. A lot of the civic activities in town, the Rotary Club, the Civic Club, Women's Club, they all donate.
So it's just kind of become part of their budget now.
That's right.
That you're going to have this event. And so just to give me an order of magnitudes. And I know you're going to tell me that Joe does this, but how much does this cost? How much do you think you have to raise in a year?
I would say
this go?
a little over $1,000.
Oh, that's nothing.
No.
Because everything's being donated.
Because you go and try to feed
That
many people.
How many turkeys
That
could you buy
cost-
for $1,000?
That's
Not
right.
many. We just bought a turkey.
Right.
That's
Right.
right.
It is. No, because I think there's a place up in Shrewsbury that has a turkey dinner. 10 or 12 pound turkey, no, a 24, 26 pound turkey with all the thing.
Yep.
And I think it will feed 10 to 12 people. He's getting $450
For the whole package.
Wow.
for the package.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
to me, is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we can do it pennies on the dollar.
I get it.
So the tradition next year will be 51 years, right?
I think I'm going to say, I'm done, maybe.
I'm done, maybe.
There's always a maybe. So.
I love it. I'm done, maybe.
Now, have you had any conversation with your wife about this? Right? I mean, is she done, or is she just done maybe?
I think
Or if you're done, is she going to still be there?
No, she's done.
Oh, no, she's
but
done.
I understand
Yeah.
my daughter Roberta wants to take over. So that's good. She took over. Basically, she was involved this year.
Yeah.
And I think she can handle it. But I know she's going to go to Daddy more than I want her to.
Oh,
that's
you're
all right.
still going to have to consult. Well, consultants often make a lot more money
Yeah,
than the parent.
yeah.
I mean, I know you're making a lot of money on this, but as a
Yeah.
consultant, you could probably double your pay.
Right. And your son, Michael, he'll help, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He'll be there.
For years and years, they didn't help that much, the family. They were there for me.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
Yeah, that's okay.
And there's many fellas that were there that passed.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I remember Joe Paul, Pete Dubois, and I can go on.
Sure.
And they were there. I didn't call them.
Yeah. It just showed.
I saw a photograph that I don't know who took this year, and there's a fella named Rich Raleigh. Now he lives in Oxford. I know he was never notified, but it was Thanksgiving and he was there.
Yeah. Yep.
So they
just
come.
on the calendar, they come.
They come.
So my sense is this tradition is going to continue. Your daughter
I-
and others will take it on.
I think it will.
You'll get a special table.
No, they're going to make him wash the dishes.
Well, that's that.
Yeah,
he's-
that's what I'm
he starts
putting-
over.
The special tables in that back room that you talked about, where it's empty because they've cleared out all the chairs and they're going to put in there.
They know that I'll be in the kitchen anyway.
Right.
Yeah, of course you will.
I gotta go in the kitchen.
Of course.
Now, a lot of times I go to a restaurant that I know, I want to go in the kitchen. I don't know why, but I like to see kitchens. And people go crazy at that.
Do you like to cook, or do you just like to tell people what to do in the kitchen?
Oh, I love to cook.
Oh, you do.
I can't cook at the house because my
Because your wife
says,
gets mad.
Yeah,
My wife gets mad.
So this is actually your big day out,
yeah.
right? Because you can't cook at the
Yeah.
house. One
Once a
day a
year.
year, you just get to cook a tremendous number of turkeys.
Anna stays at home.
That's
She's
right.
like, go for
Anna
it.
Stuffing,
stays
we
at
do
home.
stuffing. We got
And
all
my
that,
son
right?
brings it down
And you
for
chop
dinner.
onions. You get to chop onions.
But
right?
then again, after the meal is done, Anna's in the kitchen with my son.
Yeah.
Sometimes my daughter. And I like that because my son knows where the pots and pans go. and my wife growls at everybody there. Takes after me. So that's good. That's good. Hopefully,
the two of you growl at each other.
Oh, that's
Oh,
a different
part of-
episode.
But that's a.
that's a different.
that's another
You got a
story.
picture of that? Is that part of it? Is that part of it? Is
That's-
that, is
that's
that part of the
another story.
pictorial episode? So, this has been terrific.
Is
This
this
is just, Shelby always does this. Shelby always finds these like true. So this is just and it's a what
She's
a
good
blessing.
at this.
You're clearly one of the many blessings. Shelby keeps showing up, showing the amazing amount of community that's in this community, right?
Oh, it's a great community.
And that's what everybody says.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody
I
says.
will never leave. I was born here. I can't afford this town anymore.
You'll never leave.
Oh,
And I'll
geez.
never
But
Here
leave.
you'll
comes
never
the
leave.
selectmen
But you'll
discussion.
but-
Time to cut.
We're
out of time.
So
No, the selectmen can't do anything neither.
well, you
It's
know,
the
maybe,
people's wishes, and they get it.
and you get what you pay for. And you get, on that bright note, so we're going to be showing the pictures
show
at the
them-
end.
we're gonna roll
But I
it.
can't tell you, it's just been a real pleasure. It's just been a real
I'd
pleasure.
enjoy it myself.
Thank you. And Shelby, thank you very much for doing this.
It's fun.
Folks, so this is why you watch these, right? And they're a lot more fun now. We're in the studio. We will see you after the pictures, obviously, we're going to finish. But we will see you then in the next episode of Frank and Mary here in Westborough. Thank you very much.